Hello, you've built a groundbreaking healthcare app in a weekend using nothing but AI and good vibes. But can that code actually hold patient data without breaking the law? Today, we show Vibe coders how to go from it works on my laptop to HIPAA compliant. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the HIPAA Insider Show. I'm Adam Z. I'm joined this week by Gil Vidals again. Hey Gil, welcome back.
Hey Adam, yep, glad to be here. Looking forward to today's podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We're seeing a massive shift recently when it comes to requests from practitioners who have built their own applications using AI. So it's not just the big developers anymore building these things, it's individual doctors and founders, but they are hitting a wall when it comes to compliance. So break it down, what's going on?
Yeah, very interesting topic, Adam. I do want to start off by something I usually don't talk about. The business and the market, stock market, is not really related to this podcast, but something interesting has happened, and that is the software companies in the market have crashed by 30%. I forgot the number, if it's 300 billion or 400 billion they lost. And that is a really important signal, because what that means is that there are so many vibe coding armchair developers, nurses, doctors, all sorts of people, right? They're making these applications by using AI, and the applications aren't basic. They're not just stick figures. They're actually very complex, very full-featured and rich applications, the kind that you'd sign up and pay, $100 a month. And I'm quite surprised by how extensive. I knew people were vibe coding and I knew they were making applications, but I didn't realize the extent as to how robust and full-featured these applications are. So now what's happening, as you mentioned, we're getting contacted by some of these medical practitioners that said, hey, I made an application for my patients or for my practice or whatever. And the next step for them is they made it, they're happy, it works on their local area or their machine or whatever local environment. And now they're like, hey, I'm ready to put this out on the cloud to invite others to participate and to use it. And so that's kind of where we are. And this is all brand new. This just started happening. I mean, if somebody really to be technical, they might say it happened a year ago, but really it's just launching now, where your non-technical person is really taking advantage. It just started happening this year in 2026.
Yeah, and some of those platforms that are being used for the vibe coding are, to mention a few, Cursor, Replit, Bolt.new, VO. So these are some of these platforms, Versal, and is it right for us to term them as more of a sandbox for applications? Are they ready for production? Like, how does that play out when it comes to healthcare?
That sandbox area is a fantastic place to develop it. But you have to find a home for your application. And I don't know, I would imagine some of those development platforms will also provide you a way to host it. They may offer that, but if you're going to have medical data on the platform, then you need to find a HIPAA compliant provider, and like HIPAA Vault. And I don't believe these building platforms offer HIPAA compliance. I don't think that's their forte.
Yeah. Interesting for the audience. There's a question. Have you found a HIPAA compliant no-code solution? Let's talk a little bit about what that looks like, going from a no-code AI platform to a HIPAA-ready, HIPAA-compliant production environment. Talk us through some of the steps involved in that, Gil.
Yeah,
so you've got the code ready, but you're not confident that it's secure.
Yeah. So once you have the code ready, and again, the code was made by AI, right? So the AI is the one that was your let's call him the AI developer. It wrote the code. You, as the vibe coder, you tested it, you click the buttons, you're very happy with the results. So now what happens is you're like, well, I need to find a home that will be HIPAA compliant. Now, why is it that the AI can't do that part? Like, let's talk about that for a minute, because it's an important concept. So at this juncture, AI is trapped in the virtual world, right? AI doesn't come out and start clicking on your keyboard. It does everything inside the computer. It's digital. To be HIPAA compliant, you have to touch the physical world. AI doesn't do that yet. So that means that you have to have infrastructure that's HIPAA compliant, like Google Cloud and some of the others like AWS. So you might say, well, I'll just move into one of, let's pick Google as an example. Well, let me move into Google because Google says they're HIPAA compliant. But Google has the tools and they have the platform that can be HIPAA compliant, but you have to go in there and configure a lot of settings to make it fully HIPAA compliant. So it does take engineering time and know how to do that. Also, besides that, even if you had a magic wand and say, okay, that infrastructure has been configured, the code itself is probably going to live on a virtual machine, Adam. And a virtual machine has to then be configured also to be HIPAA compliant. You have to monitor it, scan it, run vulnerability reports, patching on a weekly or monthly basis. So there's a lot of maintenance.
Ongoing.
So, and I think that's important for the audience to understand that the HIPAA compliance world is not a one and done. You don't just hit a button and you're done. It's a continual process. Why? Because the world is changing all the time. You can't have a magic bullet that just makes it happen one time. You have to always be upgrading the software, upgrading the server, upgrading the operating system. You're always improving it and updating it. Otherwise, you fall behind and the vulnerabilities start to creep up. So that's why I think you need a specialist in this. Now, having said all that, I'm amazed at the AI world. Maybe around the corner, there'll be some magic way to do all this without humans. But right now, you still need that human expertise along with the infrastructure. You need both.
Yeah. And so, Gil, what would you say would be the next steps from, the doctor or nurse that's built this application and they want to go to a HIPAA ready environment? What would be the next steps to make that happen?
Yeah, so we want to be very practical. We don't want to just talk at a high level. So to really be practical, once you have the application, there's a couple of things you need to do. So test it out, make sure you've tested it thoroughly and you're happy with it. You've made the changes you made. So when you really, really sign off, don't just make it and then try to ship it out. Make sure you review it. Maybe have a couple of your friends or colleagues review it as well. Let them poke around at it. But after you've done that, then the next step would be to say, well, how am I going to move this thing to a HIPAA compliant location? So let's say you're going to move it to HIPAA Vault. Then you would say, I need a way of exporting the entire application. Most of these platforms have a method of doing that. So you would search on your console for an export function. And it might ask you questions like, what are you exporting? Just the files? You need to export the database. So you would have to maybe read through that a little bit. But eventually you would find the right spot, you'd export it, and now you have a file. Now, having done that, probably we have to be careful then that is this an export that has test data in it? Or would you say, oh no, I already had live patients and customers? You have to be careful. If there's no patient data in there, then you can free to just send it any which way you want. But if it has PHI medical data, you're going to want to talk to the new provider where you're going to host it. In this case, let's say it's HIPAA Vault. You want to talk to say, hey, I have this file. It does have PHI data. How should I transfer it to you? So once you resolve that, and for example, in HIPAA Vault's case, we provided a link, a HIPAA compliant secure link where you would place the file, and then an engineer from HIPAA Vault would retrieve that file and install it in the platform so that now you've accomplished that migration step. You also have to sign a BAA. That's the next step as well. When you sign up for HIPAA Vault, we provide a business associate agreement. You have to sign it. We sign it. So your provider your hosting provider has to be prepared to sign that. If they say they don't sign it, let's say you call XYZ company and they told you, or you thought you read online, hey, these guys are good, I'm going to go with them. And they say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't sign a BAA, then you need to back out and say, okay, this isn't going to work. So as you said earlier, Adam, one of the first questions you want to investigate is, do they support signing a BAA? If they say yes, then at least you got past that point.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, I think that gives a good idea to our audience. I think we want to keep it a shorter episode today, right? But
Right. Right.
yeah,
So
I
we're good.
think if you're watching, listening, you've got some code that you're running and you like, but you want to make it HIPAA compliant. HIPAAvault.com. Reach out to us, and we'd be happy to get on a call and walk you through the steps. Gil, are you seeing these processes take from development to production, migrate into HIPAA compliant? Are you seeing it take months or weeks, or
Well,
how long is the timeline?
yeah, that's a very interesting question, Adam. So first of all, to develop the platform, I've seen platforms developed in 1 to 2 days, something that would take normally 1 year to a year and a half, take 1 to 2 days. So it's
Wow.
unbelievable. Now, once that's done and you want to migrate it and export it and all that, that could take another couple of days, right? You've got to test it, get your friends, colleagues test it. That could take a day, and then the next day you're ready to export that file, contact the hosting provider, and begin the move-in process, which could take a day or two, depending on how busy they are with their current customers.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can do in the industry now that there's AI and there's automation in place to get these things deployed rapidly, right? So the tools are changing, but the mission is the same, keeping patient data safe.
Yes, that's a good way to conclude this.
All right, great. So yeah, that's it for this episode then. Gil, thanks again for joining us. And make sure to like and subscribe for more insights on building the future of healthcare. See you next week.